everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we talk all things reality TV or whatever. I'm your host, Pharaoh. I'm joined by our wonderful, wonderful co-host, Lee. Lee, how you doing?
I feel like I'm doing well. I'm excited. Today
Mm-hmm.
we're doing what is it? Fantasy
This
casting. Not too
uh
cold.
yes, I am. I look like a burrito. Yeah, as you see, today we are going to be creating our fantasy second chances Big Brother Canada draft. I don't think that it's far fetched for Big Brother Canada to do a second chances.
At
They very
all.
much so give iconic. I do think they'll probably have an all star soon or something, but they just give iconic. Big Brother Canada will do what the fans want. They listen to their fans. No shade.
Yeah. I mean, even when we don't want them to, Kyle Moore. No shade. No shade.
No shade, no shade. We did not need
Because
him. Woo!
who asked for Kyle Moore? I definitely did not.
Not I, not I. But yeah. So, girl, we really finna just jump into it. So, what we did was I made a list of the people who I would like on second chances. Lee made him a list of people that he would like on second chances, and we took them lists and we picked the ones that we kind of agreed on. You know,
Mhm.
we got the average, and that's how we came up with this cast. We tried our best to make it realistic, try to spread it out through the seasons, get an even amount of what was needed to be even per. And yeah, I mean shit, let's get into it, period. um
Sure.
yeah, we're just gonna go through, talk about all the players we chose, and then look at the cast as a whole, and there's that. So, starting off on season 1, period. This is the player we got for season 1. We
Mr.
got one
Emmett.
player. We got Emmett. So, I watched season 1 a while back when it went around the time when Big Brother Canada first started, and then I watched it recently over again, and I really, really think Emmett deserves a second chance. Basically, Emmett's game was at the beginning, the strong men made an alliance. They also got targeted. So he made an alliance with Tom, and him and Tom had like a twosome, and both of them got targeted very quickly by Suzette and some of the other women and other players who weren't strong men. They all started targeting Emmett, so Emmett became a target very quickly. But he was still able to link up with Jillian. They created a showmance, and he pulled in people like Andrew. He pulled in people like Alec and Peter, and he really, really made it far because he got him and Jillian to make it to a point where they can start just winning the competitions. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Jillian won 4 fucking HOHs, as you see. Emmett won 2 HOHs himself. He won 3 vetoes. So him and Jillian were kind of the first Kayla and what's that bitch name? Derek.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, to be honest, I think he introduced Canada to strategy. He was on season 1, and he was kind of the strategic for driver of that season. He was the reason that the majority alliance formed. He was the reason that Andrew was doing everything that Emmett and Jillian wanted. He was the reason that Jillian even made it as far as she did. He was using Jillian very, very aggressively. It reminded me of kind of like Dan and Memphis, where Dan would make Memphis do things to damage his jury votes. Emmett was really getting Jillian to do all the dirty work, turn on her
Mm-hmm.
friends and all of this. So at the end of the day, when he got cut by Gary, it was kind of like, dang, Emmett was the one who should have won. And as you see, Jillian didn't even get the votes to win. Emmett probably would have got the votes to win. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
From what I
Also,
remember,
yes.
what I remember about Emmett is just that like how you said, like he was definitely kind of setting Jillian up. I remember like a lot of the moves that he was definitely influencing and kind of telling her to do. No shade. She would just get all the hate for it when really he was the
Mm-hmm.
one kind of running this entire season. Like I do remember him kind of really being in a power position most of his season, and I think it would just be interesting to see him play again because Big Brother Canada has evolved so much. I think the earlier seasons of Big Brother Canada, like Big Brother Canada is usually very chaotic, but it is like times 10 what it was in the earlier seasons. Like, and I do think I would love to see him kind of one in a, by PLC kind of season where there are more people of color around him, because I think a lot of players we kind of do need to see like, okay, well, how can you do it in, you know, a more diverse season. Because I do think more diverse seasons that we've seen are just a little bit harder slightly. Like, you know, I want to see, will he be able to really have that same energy? You know what I mean? But I honestly feel like he will, because he seems like someone, you know, he was able to stay in control damn near that whole season. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see, can he do it in another Big Brother Canada season, especially with the new changes and things like that.
It's also interesting because, you know, when looking at these players before the BIPOC season, for example, Emmett's closest allies were like-minded individuals. Tom might not be in a BIPOC season. Jillian and Tala and Andrew, those are all people who kind of are like-minded. They're pretty and they're white. You know, Tala's not white, but, you know, she's not black. So it's like that type of person isn't always going to be, you know, in a BIPOC season, and those were his closest allies. And you notice, like, if you notice with a lot of these players, especially like the white men who do well, they all are surrounded by, you know, like-minded individuals. And in these newer seasons, there's not many of that for them, which is why people like Kyle and Gino, who probably could have won this, like a season that Emmett was in, didn't win this season. Like, I can see Emmett getting a Gino placement. He was smarter than Gino, but, you know, still, like, the fact that he doesn't have people to relate to so easily. But in general, yeah, I agree. I just think it would be very interesting to see him come back in a newer season where shit is more erratic, or whatever. Period. So Emmett is our first player. He's the only one from season 1. We did not get anybody from season 2. No shade, but Ika and Netta already came back. Period. So season 3.
And you'll definitely notice that, you know, in the early season we didn't get much people, because let's be real, the gag is the people we want are in the later seasons.
I know. I'm sorry, go.
And then also it's a 16-player cast. Like, baby, you had to get in where you can fit in, and clearly Miss Neha fit in.
And also, like, a lot of the people who would have returned from those seasons came on season 5. So if you notice, a lot of our players are going to come after season 5, because the season 5 was their second chance. Like, yes, Cassandra, literally. Cindy, Netta, Ika, Gary, they all would have gotten this. Kevin, but Bruno, but they were already there. So we're getting the ones that, you know, from those earlier seasons that just didn't get added to that season 5, basically. So here we see Neha, or whatever, per queen.
Now, if you don't remember, Neha is that girl. Okay, so really early on in the beginning of BB Can 3, like, the guys were very much kind of taking over the season. Like, you had, what was it? The chop. What was it?
I don't know.
The chop shop.
The chop shop.
I believe it was the redhead dude, Bruno, child, irrelevant ass people that's not relevant to the character anymore. But then there's Neha. So Neha, she had a really, really, really tough start in this season. One of her most memorable moments is where her and Cindy were in the HOH room with the other girls, basically trying to get a girls thing going, because it was very clear that the dudes were teaming up and going with each other. Whole time Kevin Martin was in the bathroom, heard everything they said, and he spread around the house that the girls, mainly Neha and Cindy, were trying to go against the guys. That week, Cindy was backdoored and voted out. The next week, Kevin, the one who heard them talking about it, won the HOH, and it was an instant eviction. And he got my sister out.
Mind you, he had to go to the diary room, name his nominations immediately. After he came out of the diary room, Neha pulled him to the side, was like, and convinced this man to unnominate her. He has a diary room. He's like, damn, I wish I didn't have to nominate immediately, because I would not put up Neha if I knew the information she told me. So she really got fucked. First of all, why is there instant evictions week 3? No shade, BB Can, but BB Can.
That was when I first got to BB Can, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I can kind of live with a triple eviction, but instant evictions are so stupid. Because, and this is exactly why Neha deserves a second chance. She was able to convince him 2 seconds after he just put her up, not to put her up, but he couldn't do anything about it because of a dumbass twist. Neha, like so many iconic Big Brother players, got effed by a twist, and she deserves a chance to come and prove that she can be that girl. Because I do think she is someone, she was very aware of what was going on. She was good at competitions. She had a good social game, and she was able to get the target off of her back with one conversation. If it wasn't for that dumbass twist, my sister would have been good. However, BB Can 3 had a lot of dumbass twists. So it's like that season, like literally all of them need a second chance because the way they played half of them that season, child.
And as you'll see as we go along, a lot of these people, they got out at a triple, which no shade, that's a dumb twist. They got out at an instant. They were or they like made it really far and they just got cut at the end. A lot of these people, it's like you just got screwed low key. Like, you know, all these triples and doubles and quadruples and instances, that's a lot. That's not typical, you know, that's not a typical Big Brother week. And so it does seem like the people who go that week need a second chance, you know, like give them a chance to play regular. I don't know. Or whatever, period. Season 5. We didn't have nobody from season 4. And did we need anybody from season 4?
No.
Child. Season 5. This was the season that a lot of the veterans came back to play. And as you see, none of them can have second chances because they've already had their second chance. But the people who weren't veterans, Dre and Dimitri, are going to be casted. Now, Dre, that's my girl.
Mm-hmm. And people need to put some respect on Dre's name. Kiss this ass that twerks.
Kiss this ass that flip flop, flip flop,
flip flop, flop, flip flop, flip flop. Kiss this ass. You know, we stand Dre around here, and I do feel like a lot of people do not put respect on Dre's name because I do think she was a very, very smart and strategic player. She aligned herself with Ika very early on, which was smart because Ika was clearly running things. Ika was playing the middle with her man Dimitri, and Drea and her number one ally with the French connection, William, kind of, you know, used them to shield them and protect them throughout the game. Now, Dre's downfall was the week where who had HOH? I believe it was Kevin had HOH. He nominated Dimitri and Ika. Dimitri had one veto after, you know, failing to get Dimitri to use the veto on Ika. Because originally she would have loved if Ika could stay that week and the Dimitri ass can go. But with Dimitri winning veto, that did not happen. And she couldn't convince him to use the veto. So what left was on the block was Jackie and Ika. That week, Dre kept going back and forth. Should I evict Ika? Should I keep her? I don't know. She went to Dylan with let's evict her. Then she came back to Dylan like let's keep her. Then went back to Dylan, let's evict her. And then Dylan ended up getting out that Dre had been considering this entire week. So after finding that out, Ika was done with her and William. Dimitri won the next HOH. And the triple, and then she got out. I do feel like she deserves a shot to really prove herself because BB Can 5 wasn't fair for any new person that wasn't named Dimitri, and that was because he was sucking Ika's pussy the entire season. And do we blame him? It's Miss Ika Wong. I would too. But it's just, you know, I think Dre deserves a shot to really show what she had. You know what I mean? Because no shade, every new person that season was strategically was not really here. I like Miss Dimitri, but strategically he was not up there, you know what I mean? I think Dre has the potential to really, really make it far. I think she has Helena upside a bit, which could still be a bad thing because as we see what happened with Helena, but I think she really could blossom in a season of her own. I do think she was kind of in Ika's shadow, and she did that strategically to make it far, but at some point it can be hard to get out of that with such a dominant player like Ika.
Yeah, and I just think in general, like seasons that have returning players, it's really hard for the new players to not get drowned out. You're playing with people who've played this game before. They're experienced. They know what they're doing. They've already had the diary room sessions, the layout. They know how to play these competitions. You know, it's like they have an advantage over them. And so for Dre to have made it as far as she did and be strategical and know that she needs to take out the like mastermind of the season, it was a lot of good. I don't know. It was just a lot of good gameplay I felt for newbie on this type of season. Usually they all just get drowned out. You don't know none of them. You know, usually you don't, especially when there's half returnees, usually you don't know fucking nobody but the returnees. But for her to stand out, I think that was impressive.
And I'll also say, like, Dre was playing with idiots, no shade. You know, Dre was all about a new person winning this game. Like I just mentioned, Dimitri was getting ran by Ika, no shade. Dylan was getting ran by Ika. Karen was getting ran by Ika. William was getting ran by Kevin and his dick. So she really couldn't go any, and no one liked the Jackie. So she really couldn't go anywhere to really make a move, and that sucks too, because I think there are a lot of players in Big Brother Canada and US where a move can be made if the people that they were working with just weren't complete idiots. So that's another reason why I feel like she deserves a second chance, because she really was never able to make that move. As we can see, she got no comp wins, which in my opinion is even more impressive, because she was able to stay so safe and stay in a position of power with no competition wins, put some respect on it. But yeah, it didn't work out for her. It really did. And I don't think it never was though. Like, you know what I mean? What, like, the way that season was shaping out for a while, there was no chance a new person was going to win if it wasn't Dimitri.
Yeah. I also want to say, like with Black players and people of color, in these seasons before the BIPOC rule, I do feel like, for example, the week Dre went home, none of them were her allies other than Ika. And really the whole season, nobody was her ally except for William, because he had the French connection, and Ika, like their true ally who was going to defend her, who was going to protect her. And I do think her not really being able to relate, like, look at Dre and Dimitri. What they gonna relate about? Like, I don't know. Like, it's like, without that initiative, which is really important, Dre didn't have anybody checking for her at the door. She didn't have nobody. Imagine Dre and BB Can 10. Summer wasn't gonna let Dre go, even if Ika, you know, like these newer players, Herman, Moose, all these people would have had Dre's back in this season. So I could see a season where Dre plays with more people who are like-minded like her, who she can relate with, and her doing, like, I'm finna say way better. She got 6 this season. Yeah. So way better is winning, you know? So I can see her doing better in a with a different opportunity. But yeah. That's Dre per. We're gonna put her on the season. What?
I just want to finish one more thing, because I just think, to wrap everything up you just said, it's a great point. Her closest ally was Ika, who's also a Black woman, and William, because he spoke French. 2 people that she can relate to on a different level. It just shows the importance of having people with similar backgrounds. I mean, William isn't Black, but clearly they bonded because they can both speak French. It's like, if she had other Black people in there, well, she could have had more people who she could likely align with. So it's like, these are things that's important.
And she was on the block next to Gary. Her and Gary was cool. Her and Ika was cool. Ika and Gary was cool. You know, it's like, it just, how it happens is just funny. But you know, we've moved on from that, because now we have the rule. We're always going to be on the seasons. So I love that for us. Dimitri, he did get ran by Ika the whole season, but as you see, he won 5 fucking HOHs. He was the first person in North American Big Brother history. Is that true? Yes. To win more than 2. He made that record. That's a record, bitch. Like, that alone.
We love a game changer, okay?
No, like, literally.
No, like, honestly, Dimitri is a man. I don't know if clearly it's not a full body picture here, but if y'all don't know, Dimitri is a man. Ika is so lucky, because honestly, no, he's lucky, because look at Ika. That's the guy. They are just fine together. Like, you ever see just a fine it couple? That really is Dimitri and Ika. Now, him in the game, I would love to see him play again, because I would love to see him without Ika. Yes. I'm sorry, just to simplify it, it is very easy to say that Ika just ran him. However, do I think Dimitri is dumb? No, I think he has a good replacement level game sense. He knew that he needed to work with the returnees rather than work against them. And due to his competition ability, he was able to stay safe with them. Like, the returnees had an alliance, but he was definitely in it. There was a 6 that he was for sure in. They did not necessarily see him as an outside member. Once he linked up with Ika, he really entered the game more, because honestly, there was a divide between the newbies and the vets, and he, you know, blurred those lines. Now, it'll be interesting to see him play again too, because the competitions are different. Can he go and win 5 HOHs and 2 vetoes in the season where the HOH isn't playing veto? And now the comps are just way entirely different, like literally entirely different. So that could be very interesting. Do I think he could do well in the second chance or returnee season? I don't know, because I don't know if he will either be a lost puppy dog, or can he take the tips and tricks he learned from 5 and Ika to really make it far. Unfortunately, I don't think he would be able to, but I would just love to see him play again.
Yeah, I would too. And I won't necessarily say I won't think he'll be. I think Ika would train him good. I think he would be in that season, and it would be very much so. Ika taught him well, but because he was never like bad per se. Like you said, he had a lot of good qualities, even when it came to like just knowing to work with the returnees. working with Ika was beneficial for him. So even though he just wanted to fuck her, that was still good. It worked. So hey, that's good too. But you're right. Like without the comp wins, what is Dimitri? No shade. I will say he was one comp win away from winning the game. He could have won BB he couldn't even be on here because he could have been the winner of that season had he won that final HOH. So that's cool too. But hey, I mean, Canada has a lot of winners where it's like low key, Kevin that season, it's like, is he strategically?
Well,
I hate to say it. I know that's y'all fave.
Competition, so
I know that's y'all fave. But yeah, I can see Dimitri doing okay. I wouldn't say that if he came back and returned that he would just be the strategic mastermind and win. I don't think I could say that. But I do think that he could do okay in a returnee season, probably a 12th place, which is not bad, not first out. Period. That's all I got to say about him. Next, season 6.
Oh, they came hard with season 6.
They did. Look, I need a whole here. There's a lot of white faces. But anyways, so season 6, I actually did not watch the full entirety of season 6. I knew the beginning when they was doing Heaven, Hell, and Heaven and Hell. I know a little bit of up to when Erica went home and blah, 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 blah. But I do know that Erica is that girl. I do remember Erica being that girl winning all them damn comps, as you see. Or whatever.
No, I honestly love BB Can 6. Until BB Can 9 and 10 came around, BB Can 6 was my favorite season. I would definitely still put it top 2, honestly. Because the players are iconic. I mean, these 4 are great, but the entire cast was really great. It had a lot of dynamics. Like the messiness and the chaoticness and the fluidity of BB Can 10 is very reminiscent of BB Can 6. Throughout the entire season, I kept finding similarities that I kept going back to. I was hoping that Betty would be our Paris, but she wasn't. And it's fine. It's fine. But, we moved. I honestly, I would love to see all 4 of them. Erica and Johnny, I want to talk about a little bit together because they were sort of a duo. Them together, especially if they came back together in the second chance season, would just be 100% iconic. There were multiple sides in this season. You had Paris, Will, and Maddie, Derek and Kayla, Olivia and Alejandra, Hamza and the Bums, no shade. So it's like Erica, and very early on, Erica and Johnny were just, basically playing all of those people. Erica specifically kept power very early on in that pre-merge, and everyone loved her. I mean, literally, I can't even say a downfall to her game because there really isn't one. The reason why Erica went home was because when Kayla won her first HOH, I believe it was her first, she nominated Marin and Ryan. Well, the plan, I believe, Marin and Ryan, let me go make sure, child, because I don't want to just be talking. Yeah, so she nominated Ryan and Will because she didn't fuck with Will like that, and no one really liked Ryan, right? Johnny had one veto that week because neither Erica nor Johnny could not win competitions. They were going to win when they played. And basically, there was a twist that came into play. And the twist was, we can use it this week or the next week. Canada gets to save a person. If we don't save a person this week, we can save a person next week. Essentially, the person we save will be saved at eviction, and then Kayla will have to name a nominee right after. Well, guess what? Canada likes the rig. No shade. Sorry. They like the rig. So, very, coincidentally, Ryan kept getting a lot of, we feel so bad for you. We feel sorry for you. You're the underdog. Now, to be honest, Ryan was the underdog, but was he an underdog that we gave a damn about? Not really. And y'all know the difference. There's a lot of underdogs that we like, well, you flopping, but it's like Jess. Jess was the underdog. Did we give a damn? No. So, Canada, low-key, forced the power to get used. It got used on Ryan, and Kayla had already decided because originally she wanted Johnny to potentially win veto so she could backdoor Erica, and then she didn't want to do that no more. She stopped. But she was like, if I could go back and get a chance to get Erica up out of here, literally she was saying that before eviction, I would. And then she got the opportunity. Erica went up, and it's like, you can say, well, maybe she should have had better connection. The girl had won 4 comps by that time. Like, who wasn't going to evict her? I mean, the gag is she was not put up by original standards. She ate that week up, in my opinion. She went home because of bullshit, a dumbass twist, just like Queen they had before. And she definitely deserves a second chance. Erica is a very, very smart player. She's a great social player. I think she's great at competitions. I honestly feel like she would come back and be good at competitions again. People really, really liked her. The only way she went home was because of that. Because I do feel like if she made it past that week, she definitely could have made it farther, because there's no way you would have took out Erica and Johnny. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you took out Erica, Johnny would have probably made it further. If you took out Johnny, Erica could potentially made it further. So I would love to see her get a second chance, because she just ate that up. Like, and it's not fair. Like we said earlier, like there are so many people in Big Brother Canada that go home because of dumbass reasons, and that was definitely one of those reasons.
Yeah, and like it was weird, because that season I remember thinking like, oh, Erica's not in jury. That was like the first season they did the little weird "you're not in jury," so Erica didn't even get a chance to be in jury. She didn't get a chance to like get the full experience, and I feel like she played to the caliber, necessary to get those accolades, those rewards, and she didn't get shit. Like Erica really didn't get anything. She didn't get the jury vote. She didn't get the game. She didn't even get to play in veto. Whoop. Like it was some bullshit, for real. Let this girl play again or whatever. I don't know. Johnny
is honestly like he like I said, like I started off with Johnny and Erica because I think they're like a great duo. He, just like Erica, was basically playing all those sides. One of his shining moment was when he literally convinced like 3 different sides of the house that he could be used by them moving forward. He had Kayla and Derek thinking, oh, we can keep him. It's fine. We want him for next week. He had Olivia and Alejandro, who was another side in the house, thinking he's with us. He's going to be our trio. And he also had Maddie, Will, and Paris thinking he's going to be with us if we keep him that exact next week. So this is a player, and mind you, I believe that was a backdoor. So mind you, I do believe that Johnny is definitely one of the best players to ever play this game. Now, you can say he was robbed because of a twist, because honestly, triple eviction is low-key a dumbass twist. But it's like, it's like, I feel like it's not as worse as like an Erica or a Neha. He still kind of, in a sense, got outplayed. But I feel like he deserved that second chance. He was a great social player. And it sucks because the show didn't even show him off that well. A lot of the evictions, he was the one in control of. A lot of the, a lot of the strategy that season, him and Erica was the one moving forward, but he did not get a lot of credit for it. So I would just love to see him like in a new game, in a new environment, really able to like, show his full self. Because, Johnny also, he was a bit of a villain. He would have little shady moments. Like, I remember one time, who was talking? And he would just not let them talk. I believe it was like Olivia and I want to say Derek. They were like talking about who they were evicting, who they were keeping, and he went in there and he was like, what are y'all talking about? Are y'all talking about keeping such and such? Because I don't want them to stay. And they were like, well, can you just leave? And he was like, no, I don't want to leave. I'm not leaving. And it was like, really? You're going to do this right now? He was like, yeah, I'm not leaving. Like, you need to go home. And so it's like, no. Johnny honestly like iconic. And honestly, I feel like he deserves a second chance, mainly because he got screwed by the edit. A lot of fans aren't able to know how good of a player he actually is because he didn't even get a chance to like really show it. I mean, it's the fact that he won 5 competitions, and you would think he was still like a random floater in the season. The week he saved himself, they didn't even give him credit for it on the show. They gave Olivia and Alejandra credit for it, and I think that's due to even his great work, because literally after that week, he won the next HOH after saving himself. And all 3 sides came up to him and were like, we're with you, right? And then he had to decide, and then they talked amongst each other, and they were basically like, oh,
yeah,
he kind of played us, but he definitely ate that up. He definitely ate that up.
Period, king. And then we have the king and queen, Derek and Kayla. They very much so ran through the latter half of that season, back-to-back HOHs, was doing really Kayla was controlling the whole thing. But hey, I digress. Back-to-back HOHs was doing the thing, and neither of them won, I fear. They definitely got that Paris napalm, I fear. But yeah, I'm very much so a Kayla supporter. When I was making my list, I put Kayla very high because I feel like, according to the fact that she ran the entire second half of an entire season, that most of the decisions had to go through her for it to go through, that she was running and controlling the HOHs, she was winning HOHs, she was winning all the vetoes. And she honestly, it's kind of surprising that she didn't win the game,
Yeah.
even though like Paris, oh, I guess won those last two comps, but it's still like I feel like Kayla deserves a second chance just because she kind of not should have won, but she did a lot of work that deserves, I guess, a win or at least
Yeah.
another chance to get a win because all of that work that she did, I feel, is supportive of that.
Exactly. And no, honestly, going into watching BB Can 6, like I remember because I would see the Wikipedia pages, I would see the elimination order before, and I was just always thinking, oh, Kayla definitely was someone who probably just won comps, but she wasn't the brightest or she wasn't the smartest. But that was definitely disproven when I watched BB Can 6. I will say up until the finale, I knew Paris was gonna win, but up until like those last few weeks, I was like, I don't know how the hell Paris wins this damn game. I do think Paris deserves it, but honestly, Kayla's game was just so dominant. It was very shocking that Paris ended up winning. Some of the reasoning, especially Johnny, he had a big opinion on this. He said the reasoning why he didn't give Kayla his vote between Paris and Kayla at the end was because he played more closely with Paris, and he felt like Kayla, on the other hand, did not bring him into a lot of things, you know. And also Kayla would also kind of take claims from moves and wouldn't give other people credit. So people like Olivia and Alejandra were in jury like, did you do that or did we help you do that? And then she would be like, I did that. Don't be baby. She literally called, she didn't say that specifically, but she told them in her final jury speech, y'all acting like children. Like, come on. Like, so Kayla is definitely someone I would love to see play the game again because like you said, for that reason, I do think she's someone who low-key deserves to have won a season. And I will be interested to see her play again. Similar to Dimitri, I don't know how Kayla does without the competition wins. I will say not a lot of people necessarily like her. For the most part, the reason why she wasn't sent home was because Hamza, Veronica, and everyone else was playing stupidly, so they got to keep them safe for a minute. And they were great social players. I'll also give them that. But once they became targets, they couldn't get them out because they kept winning. So in a season where maybe Derek don't win at HOH, maybe you don't win that veto, do you make it far? Because they were the targets for a few good weeks. However, they did evade that. Now Derek, a little bit about him. He's really here for, he's fitting a quota. It will be interesting to see him in the season with Kayla and Johnny and Erica. All four of them came in together. But Derek, for the most part, he definitely got ran by Kayla. We have him with 2 HOH wins and 2 veto wins. And really, those is 2 HOH wins for Kayla and 2 veto wins for Kayla. Because she ran that man to the ground. It will be interesting to see him play without Kayla. But if he ever get brought back, he probably will be with Kayla, and she'll probably just run him again. Like I said, no shade, he was here to fill quota. For the most part, like he was a great sidekick for Kayla, and it was really interesting because most times when we see a showmance or girl and guy duo, the guy is kind of the one who gets all the respect from the jury, who gets all the the notice for the move, who gets all the respect. And in this situation, it was very obvious throughout the entire season that Kayla wore the pants in the relationship. Kayla was the top, and Kayla was eating it up. You know what I mean? So, it would be really interesting to see them, because they don't go out no more. But their dynamic in the returning season would be interesting. Like, are they gonna work together?
Yeah, especially all 4 of them together. If they were all 4 from the same season, it's like they have the most people from their season coming back, whatever. So that would be interesting. But we can talk about that a little later. What's next? Season 7? Oh, girl, I'm not saying
Poochie Poppy.
Season 7 didn't have a lot of candidates, I fear, but they did have Anthony. I think Anthony really, really deserved. I think of all these people, me personally, that Anthony deserves a second chance the most because I do feel like he had one of the most dominant gameplays in Big Brother history, North American altogether. Just because of the control he had over the house, I feel like it was very much so. There's people who have control over the house, but they get targeted and they get found out and they're not ever under the scenes. Anthony went the whole season not getting nominated until the day he was evicted. And that's without winning an HOH. And that was very impressive, especially him doing it, in Canada. In Canada, it's hard for that to happen, I feel, because Canada's so messy. kind of so
Yeah.
all over the place. So the control that him and Dane and the Pretty Boys had over that season, I feel like in general is just enough to give him that credit. Plus, he was the main like strategic force. Dane was strategic too, but I feel like Anthony controlled the pieces, in the game. He was like a puppet master. And I feel like it's him losing kind of reminds me a little bit of like, not because Dane's a good player, but it kind of reminds me of like when Paul lost or when Tyler lost, just because it's like they were kind of like the strategic puppet master archetype. It's kind of like Paul and Nicole, I'd say. Like Nicole played a great game, she deserved her win, but Paul was kind of like more, I feel, puppet mastery, and it's like that's kind of how I see Anthony.
And it sucks because I do think Anthony, one of the main reasons why he ended up losing is because in BB Canada, they care so much about competitions, but I'm not going to sit up here and call him any less of a player because he didn't win those competitions. You know what I mean? The fact that he was able to make it all the way to Final Two without only winning a veto in modern day Big Brother, I feel like is very huge, especially not as a GOAT, but essentially I guess he was because he kind of won embarrassingly. It sucks because like he is a great player. And Dane is not a bad one, but he did not get the respect he deserves. I'm hoping that definitely like in a new era, like we mentioned, he could probably definitely get the respect he deserves. Like if he gets to the end of BB Can 10, does Anthony lose? Like I doubt it. BB Can 9, does he lose? I doubt it. Like for the most part, the jury was filled with people who were closer and more like-minded, no shade, to Dane. People like Kayla, who loved Anthony, got out early. People like Eddie, who said who was riding for the POCs, got out early and things like that. So Mackie got out early. These are all people who were, I feel like more loyal to Anthony out of anyone in the Pretty Boys. Now, I will say maybe that was a mistake of his because, Anthony did not come into the game as a fan. So a lot of those earlier weeks, he was still learning. So maybe those are things that in the new season, he'll be able to pick up on. Because I will say he did not want Kaylin to go home. So that's a positive, but she still went. And that was a number for him. That was his big issue, I feel. Dane had his people. Adam had his people. He didn't really have a group under him. And that is what got Dane the votes at the end, I feel, because even though Anthony was moving pieces, he had no one that was his people for real other than the Pretty Boys. And if you sit next to a Pretty Boy, does that matter? It doesn't. However, like I said, it does not diminish the type of player he is. He's definitely one of the best in Big Brother in general. Definitely Big Brother Canada. He finally got a partner in Kevin, thank God. But, because it's very rare when Big Brother Canada, with all the chaos and great gameplay to look at, it's very interesting to watch. When it comes to strategic mindsets, you don't get a lot of that. And Anthony definitely, like the Mount Rushmore of Canada, he's definitely on it. Period.
Definitely. Period. There was not a BB Can 8. Well, there was, but we digress.
We don't know her.
But there was a BB Can 9. Period. I watched this season very, very closely. I watched the live feeds or whatever, and we're going to talk about Spicy V first. She's so ugly for that. Victoria started off the game very much so in a mindset that she was going to be the Rachel Riley. She was going to be very extra, and she was going to play very hard, and she was going to do what she wants. And, I support that in a girl. I do feel like that she deserves a second chance is a big word. I do think she would be a fit for second chances because I think that Victoria brought a refreshing energy, I feel, to the game. I do like the fact that she was like, I guess, Rachel Riley-esque. Like, she didn't give a fuck. She was going to do what she needed to do, and she was going to play hard, and she lied. A notable week was when she won her first HOH week, and she decided that she was going to, like, I guess, turn on Tyshawn and Jedson and take out LaToya so that she can get closer to them. And it was interesting because, when Jedson won the veto that week, he wanted to use it on LaToya, and she was like, honestly, if you use it on LaToya, I'm putting up Tyshawn. I have to put up Tyshawn. And they were like, you don't have to put up Tyshawn. And she was like, so Beth, you want to put up Beth? And it's like, damn, Victoria. Victoria was very like hardcore. And I do feel like, and then she won the secret HOH. I feel like winning the secret HOH and the way she handled that was interesting. She flipped back and forth from both of the sides. She played the middle very hard. I feel like she was just a very big character that season. In a season full of big characters, like that season had just Jetson was using vetoes on other people. Kiefer was being a mastermind, but not a mastermind. Tashawn was turning on his best friend. It was weird. There were so many big people, and she still stood out in this season. And I feel like her personality, the way she plays the game, the way she just stands out like a sore thumb, all of that is just enough alone in itself for her to, be able to come back. Honestly,
no, like her being compared as like the Canadian Rachel Riley is so perfect. I mean, down to the similarities where they both their first season had 2 HOH wins and then got out first in jury.
yeah,
Like iconic. So now, like I said, I did not watch Big Brother Canada 9 with everyone else. I watched Big Brother Canada 9 after watching BB23 live. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get to watch along with the feeds, but Victoria on the show was just insane. I loved it at first. Now it started getting a little weird when she went after my sister Latoya. And then she went after my sister Austin. That's the thing. I like Latoya and I like Austin. So she went after both of my sisters. And it was just like her gameplay is so chaotic. And that's the thing. One thing Victoria will give you is the fun, the chaoticness, the fluidity, the out of this world strategy. But the issue is like, can we get a winner out of Victoria? I would love to see Victoria come back and play a more serious game. Like, we love the stunts, we love the shows, but Victoria, baby, you could have won if you was playing it right. When you won that first situation, you had no reason to go after Latoya for real. If you had got out somebody that no one gave a fuck about, you would have been good. If you would use that secret situation to actually do something instead of getting out Austin flop out, Austin wasn't doing anything. And if she was loyal to you, it didn't matter. It's like, Victoria, like, it sucks because her downfall is herself. All of her crazy chaoticness, she took out. It's like she took out. Look, she literally created a side against the Sunsetters to take out Latoya. Took out Latoya and then flipped on them. The side she created, mind you. And then was confused when they took her out.
Literally
after just taking out LT. Like, Victoria, baby. Like, I don't need the spicy V energy for a returnee season. I need Victoria. Okay.
The only way Victoria could win a returnee season is if it's Rachel Riley-esque. When Rachel Riley won her returnee season, that's the way Victoria could win. By luck, babe. Bitch, a twist, I fear. Like, I don't know. I need her to, like, she needs to literally switch her entire personality for her to, like, win. But I will say, like, looking at the people we just went through, all the people we went through, when I get to hear, I just hear like clown theme songs. Like BB 9 gives clown. It gives like, I don't know, the energy just went from like, oh, these are serious players, let's think about them. And then when I click to this page, it's giving, this is a joke, like it's giving Funhouse. It's giving Funhouse. It's giving, I don't know.
No.
Rohan. Now me, I wasn't a fan of Rohan. I just wasn't, because he came to my
I loved Rohan. I love Rohan because he was an underdog. Now, I will get on him. The week he came for Kiefer sideways, I was definitely anti-Rohan. I did not like when he was with Kyle. Like, that little weird bully energy they was on was so weird. But, I feel like once he kind of got past that hump of, problematicness, I thought he was fine. I was really rooting for him at one point. Winning 3 VLs in a row is not easy. He was a target all 3 of those weeks. I mean, look how many times he was nominated. Rohan could not catch a break. I would love to see him play again because he was very strategic minded. He wanted to come in kind of like this villain archetype to play people and blindside and backstab, and he didn't get a chance to do it. I would love to see him get a chance to do that because I do feel like he is strategically better than a lot of people that we've named. And in Big Brother history, I think he was not able to get himself into that good position. And I think it has a lot to do with it just has a lot to do with how that season was. There was a very, very chaotic season. And then also too, it's like I can understand his reasoning because he didn't want to go to the end with like Tyshawn and Jed, like all of them, because I mean, how would that have helped him? You know what I mean? Like, how he would have to beat all of them, and it just wasn't going to work. Sadly, he really did not have a chance in this season once he went against the Sunsetters because one of them was gonna win regardless. We had been peeped
Mm-hmm.
that. But I feel like he definitely deserves a second shot because I feel like honestly Rohan is the type of person that can come back and win. I do think if
Mm-hmm.
he gets in the right season, the right cast, he could take it home.
I agree. I do think he definitely of the people in this season, he had one of the better strategic minds. He was a good part of creating that opposite alliance. What the fuck were they called? The misfit, the what were they called?
I don't
Them.
even remember.
The other alliance opposing the Sunsetters. What the fuck were they called? It doesn't matter. What was it? I like their name. I really like
I'll
their
find it.
name.
I'll find it.
But yeah, them. Damn. I'm sorry. Okay, them. He had a very big hand in creating that alliance because he was the one who knew that he needed to bring Tina and Tara into that. He also created that good relationship with Austin and Braden, and him and Kyle really linked that up. So he did have a big hand in that, and he also was very strategic. Like Lee said, I do feel like Rohan's someone who can come back and do
Carb.
Carb. Oh, they're so. I do feel like Rohan was one who could come back and do really good. So I think he also deserves it because, like you said, that alliance, the Sunsetters, it was going to be hard to beat them, especially after they started gaining momentum the second time around, like after Latoya went home and
And then
after
Victoria
Victoria
flipped.
flipped.
Like it was bad for
Yeah,
them.
it was bad for him.
Braden, Braden started getting dick from Tyshawn. He wasn't loyal to him no more. Like Rohan was really assed out. He had no allies and nothing. What?
So Kiefer. Now Kiefer is my motherfucking father. Like, let me keep it PG. I really like Kiefer in a lot of ways. And I felt like Kiefer was the strategic force throughout the season. As we remember in the beginning, he was very good at getting relationships within the Sunsetters, even though he was kind of not what's it called popular. I don't know. He didn't have the energy that Tashawn and Jed had. So Tashawn and Jed had such a strong bond, and they were so strong with Latoya. Kiefer was still able to get in a good position with them and with Tina on the other side. He also was smart enough to link up with Tina and Tara outside of the Sunsetters so that he had Tina and Tara on one side and he had the Sunsetters on the other side. When he got opposition between Rohan and Kyle, he was able to not go home the week that he got nominated. He was also able to win an HOH and take both of them out. Kiefer's the reason Kyle and Rohan got out, and Kyle and Rohan were the main people targeting him. Kiefer also later in the season, when people realized that he was one of the better players and he was the more strategic player, and they tried to backdoor him, what happened? Kiefer escaped a whole back door. I feel like that's very strategic.
Two people in this cast, kind of him and
I know,
Johnny.
right? I know. They kind of ate that. I feel like Kiefer lacks a lot of I feel social cues. I feel like even socially in general, he's not that good. But other than that, I think his strategy carries him. Like he might reveal his strategy, and that's his downfall. But if he can get past that hump of revealing his strategy and being so open about his gameplay, I really think he can be a force to be reckoned with because surviving a backdoor is not that easy. He also was the person who came up with the let's get out Jetson strategy. He came up with every strategic move damn near. Kiefer was the one who came up with. And it's interesting how his mind works. The only bad thing is he just lets everybody know. And it's like, baby, shut up. Because that's how they knew that they needed to get him out of Final Four because he let everybody know. He's like, I'm probably going to win the season. Like, shut up, Kiefer. God.
We do not know all that.
We don't need to know.
And I really, really do love Kiefer. Like, I knew that he won Canada's favorite player going in. So I was definitely looking at reasons as to why. And honestly, like, Kiefer did make me tear up a few times throughout the season when he was talking about his, his culture and things like that, and his family. Like honestly, like he has a great story. It would have been a great representation to see him win. The beauty of behind Kiefer, I think, is the type of player that Kiefer is a clear product, I feel like, of the new BIPOC initiative because so far in BB Can 9, BB Can 20, BB Can 10, and then BB 23, I feel like the more strategic player of the season is kind of the most unlikely person. You have Kiefer, they've never really cast a Native American person. He doesn't seem like someone that a lot of people get along with. He's kind of the outsider, quotations. Tiffany is the older woman, 40, single mom, black woman. And then you got Kevin, who's the nerdy archetype, don't really fit in. It's like, it's interesting that the more the people who are getting the most acclaim at the end of these seasons are the people who look more like us. You know what I mean? Like more normal people, not just model-esque type players. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And I love that. I think it's going to be so interesting to see how many more of that kind of similar archetype that we're going to get in the future. I do think Kiefer can do really well in a returning season because I don't believe he comes off as threatening at all. Like, I don't think people are going to be like, oh, Kiefer is definitely the biggest threat here. You know, unless he went in and telling everybody I'm the biggest threat here, you got to get me out. And knowing Kiefer, he probably fucking would. The guy, that's the thing. He was going to win BB 9, but he told everybody he was going to win BB 9. And that was his issue. Strategically, I'm not going to say he is on Anthony, Kevin level. Tyshawn. Oh, no. He up there with Tyshawn. But I'm not going to say he up there. You know what I mean? Because I do think there's a lot of holes in his strategy. Honestly, if Jetson wasn't stupid, that veto thing would not have worked. You know what I mean? If Victoria was more, sane, maybe a lot of stuff he did wouldn't have worked. A lot of things did go his way. But I think anyone who does well in these games, a lot of things have to go your way. That's how you get far. Things have to go your way. Whether it's luck, whether you put it like that, it's going to do it. But I do feel like a lot of the reasons why he made it so far is the work that he put in. I feel like it was basically like with the Jackson thing. He even said, he was like, honestly, it may not work, but let's try. It's like that type of thinking is like great because you never know who you're dealing with. And he was dealing with some dumbasses that let him get all the way to 4th when he should have got out the first time.
Literally. Period. So, last but not least, we have season 10, the most recent season. Period. They also have 4 players. Ow! Okay.
Ooh, the way they would eat up the rest of these season. Helena is not working with these niggas. She is not.
I know. Now that
Helena would flip so quick.
Literally. Now seeing like the full cast, I think this would be really fun. I think Herman would be like the issue is I think Herman comes off as threatening. Even though he got 10th fucking place, he didn't even make it to the end. In this cast, I do think Herman could be a threat even over fucking Kiefer, because I think he just seems threatening. But one thing about Herman is I don't think people perceive him as smart as he is. I think Herman is a very good player. I think all of his strategic sides are really, I don't think they're noticed. I think they're slept on a bit. So if he comes back, I don't think people are going to see Herman as a strategic threat when I think he genuinely is. He was the one who was very much so pushing the fact that what the fuck was that alliance called? The alliance that they made.
The Savage 7.
The Savage 7. He was the one who was pushing the fact that needed to stay together. He really wanted to make a core alliance and make it to the end, and that's how you win these games. Every time he was possibly going to be a target, he was very good at repositioning himself in a great position every single week, including the week he went home. He was able to reposition himself within the people who he needed to so that he wouldn't go home. I think he's just very savvy and he's very slick. He has a good social game too. People just like him. Even Summer admitted now that she didn't even want him to go the week he went. Gino and JC Lynn are just stupid. No shade. So there's even a world where he didn't go week 10. Even this round, I just think Herman could do really well in a returnee season. It's just his threat level. But saying that he's going to have a high threat level, I feel like might be a reach because he got 10th place. Are people really going to be looking?
And that's the thing. I feel like one of the shining parts about Herman's game is his ability to pivot. Like the fact that, if this person goes home, he's able to, okay, that's what we want to do. Okay, let's make sure we get a new alliance set up. Let's bring in these people, and we saw it this season. Like he had his back up against the wall, and that's when he works to his hardest. Him with all 4 of these players, honestly, I think with the experience they got from BB Canton, they could really come in a new season and eat it up. Because I do feel like when it comes to maneuvering and adversity in the season, them and BB Can 6 have the most experience with that. BB Can 9 has a lot of that, but we just discussed cloud noises. So, I feel like these are more strategic oriented players. And I do feel like Herman in a new season, especially returning season could really do well because he is someone I feel like people will want to align with. I don't believe he would be in a situation where he would get grouped with all the black players again, which is a positive for him. I feel like as long as he doesn't get grouped with people because of the color of his skin, Herman does well and could potentially win the game. Not every season is going to have a Kevin, who is arguably one of the best players in BBK history, in their season. You know what I mean? Well, he had Anthony in this one, but it's like, he probably works for Anthony, both black people, which is the point of Bob POC. Like, so I feel like Herman definitely deserves his second chance. Learning that he literally had a whole like map planned out going into the game. That really just shows me that my thought process of him going in was all the way wrong because I did not expect him to be so strategic oriented, and I do feel like him, like a lot of people that we got, he could definitely win if he came back for a second chance.
100%. With Summer, I feel like Summer thrives with her social game, and I do feel like that took her the entire damn way this season. I also feel like Summer's could learn. Summer's someone who, even though she wasn't so strategic, even though she was throwing all these comps, I think if she came back to play again, she would know that she needs to step up her strategic game. She needs to not be lazy, and that she needs to win some of these comps. I think honestly, Summer's main downfall was the competition thing because even with the mistakes she made, I don't think necessarily that like if she didn't make those few mistakes, she still could have won the game. You know what I'm saying? She still had a chance to make it to the end. I feel like Summer has strategic moments when she took out Kyle, technically, you know, when she was going to push that Gino backdoor Marty, and Marty was going to do it. When she was pushing Marty to backdoor Gino, these risks that Summer takes. Summer being a risk taker, similar to Kiefer, it's kind of like this may not work, but why wouldn't I do it anyways? And it seems like I don't know, that doesn't really happen in Big Brother, but it's kind of happened 2 seasons in a row in BB Can. There's these players who are deciding to do things that may not work, and it works. And so it's kind of making me open up my mind to like maybe these things should just be tried. Maybe people should just try to do it anyways. You know, I feel like neither of those things was the reason that Summer's game kind of failed. It was more so her getting lazy, her not keeping up her social bonds, which was her strong point, her acting weird to Betty, you know, throwing these people off. But that's kind of like a battle within herself. Like you said, like some people, Victoria's problem was herself. Summer's problem kind of is herself a little bit. Like even it's funny because even when Kevin destroyed Summer's game, he couldn't destroy Summer's game because Summer picked it back up. He destroyed Herman's game. So it's interesting that Summer's social game was so strong that Kevin couldn't even necessarily ruin her social game. Because even at the end, like Kevin almost saved Summer herself. You know, Helena almost saved Summer herself. Betty went back to liking Summer. Summer is very, very strong with her social game and not just social strategically. And I feel like she deserves a second chance because, like a lot of these other people, the triple really messed her up. If it wasn't a triple, Marty would have just went. She would have made it farther. And I feel like the triple eviction can be considered like a twist because it's not like I feel normal. That's a lot to happen. So I do feel like that Summer does deserve that second chance because of that. And I think she could. I don't want to say I think she could win, but I think she could do really good. But that's the thing, she got fucking 6th place. Why couldn't she win?
I personally do think she can win. I think Summer 100% is someone who needed the experience of the game to really come back and do well because she was a fan, but she wasn't, you know, she was a casual fan. So a casual fan to actually being in it was a huge change for her. You know what I mean? So I do feel like now that she kind of can see the mistakes she's made, she has been very open about the mistakes she's made. If she were to come back, I do think she would do well for the most part. Like I said with Herman, Summer would not get automatically paired with everyone because they were black. You know what I mean? She would not automatically be pushed out of strategies and alliances because they think that she's working with all of the black people. If that did not happen, her game would not have took the major hit it did. The only reason why Tanisha was targeted at the magnitude she was is because Tanisha was believed to be the leader of a group that wasn't real. You know what I mean? These imaginary things that apparently were her game would not be there in the new season. And I do think she would be able to pick it up. I feel like she has mentioned postseason that she knows that her not winning competitions was kind of a downfall. So I do feel like if she went back in, she would try to win competitions. And I do think it's a positive that she hasn't won much because if she ever did return, it's like, well, she didn't run what she didn't win much. She got out 6th and 7th. It'd be like, oh, well, she's here for a personality. But that's why you can't sleep on Summer because Summer was very strategic. I can openly admit as a Summer stan that her game did take a downfall after Tanisha left. But we're not going to act like she didn't devour that season weeks 1 through 5. She had the best social game in the house. She had some of the best strategic game in the house. Nobody was targeting her at all. You cannot sit up here and say that Summer is a bad player because you saw some of the mistakes she made afterwards. You know, I mean, after Tanisha went. A lot of people made mistakes that entire game. Helena pissed the entire jury off. No one's saying she's a terrible player.
Hoop. And with
You
that
know what I
being
mean?
said,
So I do believe Summer deserves her second shot, and I honestly do think she could win.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see it because she really did. Like now that you talk about the first couple of weeks, she was so good, and she kind of admitted like she's got lazy, and that's kind of weird. But if she comes back to play again, she's not going to do that. She's going to fix the mistake. You know, she's going to win the comps. She's going to not get lazy. But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Even with Summer getting lazy and making those mistakes, if she had would have just won the like a 2 or 3 comps, she could have won the game. Period.
Yeah, like
So
if she won the
it's like
triple or won the veto in the triple, then she probably is in the final two and could potentially won
or
this
even
game.
if just JC Lynn doesn't win the veto, she would have stayed that week. If Josh won the veto, if Kevin won the veto, if Helena won the veto, Summer would have stayed that week anyways. Which is I feel like you know you really got to look at it. Summer is that girl, and period. And here we go with Helena. We've been dragging Helena for so long, and we still talking about her. So clearly, she's the it girl. I hate to say it. It's period. I genuinely think Helena's a great player, and I think that if she can recognize her mistakes, then she could do good. But I will say, I think it's going to be hard. If I was Helena, I think it would be hard for me to understand why I would have lost this game because Helena left the game thinking she could have won. Also, she knows she played a good game. She was aware that she played such a good game. So I can see how it could be hard for her to understand why she lost. I noticed like players like Helena or Tyler from BB22, like since they played so good, they don't see the mistakes that they made. So when they come back, they're like, I played so good the first time. Maybe it was just I didn't win that HOH, or maybe I just needed to make sure I convinced Betty to keep me. You know, like she might think it's one thing when it's the other. I think Helena's fault might be that she just didn't take charge enough and that she hid in the shadows a little too much because similar to Tyler, which is funny that I brought him up, their games are so undercover people don't know. And that's a hard reason to come to terms with. But if she is able to get that done, Helena can win. Helena could definitely win. No one gonna be targeting Helena in a return. I wouldn't target Helena. And it's like, I think Helena's a sleeper. People should have targeted Helena in BB Can 10. She took up a 4th place spot that could have been somebody else if they would have targeted her. So I really do feel like Helena is somebody who could have really do good in a returnee season, especially because she's not going to be a target and she's going to be so smart and strategic. In this cast particularly, we'll see because Herman and Summer and Betty probably going to be like, that bitch can go. But you know,
but I think Helena would definitely sit up in their face and like she was 100% working with them anyway, so it wouldn't even matter. I would 100% love to see Helena come back. Like minus all the shit we talk, like you know. You don't go to day 63 unnominated, you know, without doing something. You know, I think the reason why we were so hard on Helena is because we did like Helena. We did want to see Helena do well. And it sucks seeing her kind of be under Kevin's shadow the entire time. And it was very clear that after her reaction to getting out and thinking that she could win, that she did not even realize that she was just up under his shadow. The gag is, I feel like I want to see her play again because I want to see her be able to not be in someone's shadow. But I can honestly see her in this season being someone else's. You know, I think Helena, she reminds me a lot of just lots of our players are like Helena, like the Amandas and things like that, where they're great allies to the person who's actually running the season. You know what I mean? Like she's Amanda to, you know, Kevin's Parvati. You know what I mean? And it's like you're a great player. You know, Amanda made the final tribal twice, but she lost twice. It's like I do feel like Helena could end up getting in that same position to where she isn't, because she's really just not an aggressive player. She isn't someone that's in your face. She's not someone that's running 3 HOHs and 3 vetoes and you know, outwardly backstabbing people. Like she likes to backstab people in private. She likes to do it behind people's backs. They ain't looking, you know, and that is a very good game to get far. It's just not always good to win. Helena needs to come back to play to win. The thing is, though, it's like, honestly, I can see Helena 100% coming in any returning season, whether it was this cast, some people from this cast. I can see her coming back, playing the damn near exact same game, and getting to the end and losing again because people don't respect her as a player. And I think that comes from, obviously, misogynoir. It comes from Big Brother Canada nutting over comp wins, like as if it's the biggest thing in the world. You know what I mean? But you know, she definitely deserves a chance to really come back and prove it because yeah, she deserves it.
Yeah, she really does. Hopefully she come back and be a bad bitch and just win it all.
I want if she come back, I really want her to be in her villain era. Like I would love, like imagine it. Helena come back for All-Star second chance. She come back like, honestly, everyone hated me. So guess what? I'm gonna give him a reason to be mad, bitch.
She would eat she could eat. I would love for Helena to come back and really, really eat it up or whatever. But let's talk about
win the first HOH, put up Summer.
I was literally like, she win one of these early HOHs and she just takes out the king. She really needs to backdoor Anthony. Shit. Like if she was in this cast, I'm not gonna lie, I could see a world where she in this cast and she link up with Anthony.
And she let Anthony
let Anthony Kevin her, but I digress. I could see that world. But
I can see Erica getting out early and her being Johnny's little
sidekick. But I can also see Helena deciding, you know what, I'm gonna be a bad bitch this season. I'm not gonna let
she can run what she can run this for. If her mom left, she could be the head, I feel like, of a Summer, Betty, Helena trio.
I see that. I don't see that.
Oh no.
I thought I did, but I didn't. She doesn't seem like she can be the head of anything.
Well,
Betty, the queen. Betty is the queen. And she should return because she should have won this season. That alone is the reason that she deserves a second chance. She definitely got screwed by a dumb move. No shade. No shade. I really think Betty really deserves it. She worked so hard. Like Betty's story is amazing to me, and I've never really seen it in Big Brother from what I can remember of someone just really coming from the bottom, booty hole bottom, and like really not having like a good standing in the house at all, and making it all the way to the end. I think she just really told a story that we don't really get in Big Brother a lot. And the fact that she was able to do it, make it to the end, almost win, it's really, really good. We definitely don't get it without a twist, no shade.
Yeah. She had to literally transform her entire game towards the end. She wasn't winning competitions at first. She really didn't have respect of her peers. And then she began becoming a strategic force. She was winning competitions. Like one of her biggest moves, I feel like, was temporarily flipping Josh back on her side to where Helena was able to get fourth, and at least she was in final three. Because honestly, if she didn't flip Josh back, she probably would have got fourth. Well, she had HOH, so that wasn't happening. Gag! But you know what I'm saying? She had the potential to go to final two, which wasn't there because Josh was up their booty hole. She pulled him out a little bit. You know what I mean? Really, honestly, the only mistake she probably made this entire game was not evicting Kevin. Because at the end of the day, she probably beats Helena and Josh. That's the guy. You know what I mean? So I think Betty is a phenomenal player. No shade. Like, I don't care what you say about it. I think she's a great player. One of the best this season. I feel like if she come back in another season, she has the advantage of not being threatening while also being ability to win competitions. I feel like she always is someone who comes off as the underdog. But the thing about an underdog is that their story is so iconic once it gets to that end game. I do feel like she is someone that could potentially win if she came back as well, because she now has the knowledge. I feel like she'd come in more cutthroat. She'd come in more game centered. She did say she wanted to be on an all-star season anyway. So I definitely think she would come in prepared, which is a great thing. Like I said, I feel like all four of these players are going to do well with the experience that they have had. If they come back, they will be able to use it for the better. She got third, being nominated 6 times. She could have went out the week she won veto, but she won that veto and kept herself safe. Anytime her back was against the wall, she was able to, really put in the work. She put in the work to keep herself safe. She was the one making the Final Four alliance with Gino and JC Lynn that kept her safe the following week. You know what I mean? She literally, like I said, flipped her bestie, supposed to be bestie, back on her side to make a move that was beneficial for her. So put some respect on the queen's name.
Period. I agree. That's my girl for real. That's my nigga for real. And with that being said, shit, that's the whole cast. And look,
that's the whole Cassiana.
Boom. This is how it looks all together. This is everyone we casted for Big Brother Canada Second Chances. If they came out next year and was like, boom, this is gonna be the cast, I would definitely be gagging.
This would 100%
as a second chances, definitely as a second chances.
So Summer, Betty, and Dre definitely working together.
Right at the bottom. I know that's
Victoria
right.
gonna win HOH and get all 3 of them out.
She's gonna win 3 HOH.
It would be a triple if Victoria would nominate Summer, Betty, and Dre.
Oh my god. So
we're
not gonna do this.
I really feel like Emmett would just link up with the What? Child.
One thing about Dimitri though is that he's gonna find him a chocolate woman or a chocolate man and work with some chocolate. I know that's right.
Because some are gonna be like, "Hey, I'm Jamaican. You green."
Literally, I don't know. It's giving Kiefer will win this season.
I might have to go in the house and put some hands on Miss Summer.
Oh no, Summer is not going to be flirting with Ike Man. I know that's right. She better find her somebody else. She better flirt with Emmett. She better flirt with Kiefer. The fuck?
It ain't no fun. Oh, Herman, I forgot my daddy wasn't here.
Herman is in here. Anthony. Woo!
Yeah, Poutine Poppy.
Ooh, a Summer Anthony showmance with E.
Ooh.
And I might see it because Summer is very flirtatious.
Who will win this season? I feel like
Kiefer.
Johnny.
The fuck? No, honestly, I can see a Johnny win. Like, I can see a Johnny win. If a dark horse winner, I can see a Neha dark horse winner because I don't see her getting targeted, and I also see people getting along with her. I can see people like the blacks liking Neha, and I can see the whites liking Neha. And if that happens, then I don't see Neha. That's a sleeper hit. I think Johnny's a good contender because he probably won't be an immediate target. And all of the other strategic people are probably going to be an immediate target. They can go. I can see her mom win in a shaking up thing.
This
I can see
all
Betty
over. Like, I'm really trying to look at this season will be literally all over the place.
All this makes me think is that I need a returnee Big Brother Canada season. Like, I need it. It would be so crazy, bro.
Why haven't they had it yet? Come on, Canada.
Arissa said soon, but not
Canada.
Now. She said soon. It's giving maybe BB Can 12 or BB Can 11. Like, they wanted more diverse options, especially if certain people want to say no and decline the offer. Like, we don't know exactly that Dre will say yes, that Derek will say yes, that Anthony and Victoria and them. Like, I think they're trying to get more options. I don't know.
More diversity as well, because before the last 2 seasons, they only would have Dre.
Stop.
Literally. Technically.
And Anthony. Dre and Anthony.
The only color on this season prior to the last 2 seasons would have been Dre and Anthony. And that's not even far-fetched. I guess you could add Godfrey. You could add Godfrey. And you could reach and put Topaz in them on here, but...
reach. I think overall this is a cute cast. I think we did good. Lee, high five. I think
if you don't like it, then make your own.
Oh! Tell us what you think. Tell us how you feel. Tell us if you like this cast, if there's somebody you would have had, if there's someone you wouldn't have had.
Like, I feel like if I'm looking at this cast, the only people who I can think off the top of my head that I would have loved to see here, Brayden. Brayden? That's right.
The only people not in this cast that I would have loved to see were I'm not gonna lie, I would like to see Jedson maybe.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. I would love to see Jedson.
I would like to see Jedson maybe. I would maybe like to see a LaToya. I would maybe like to see maybe a Mitch. Maybe a Mitch or something, but hey, I mean, I think we did good with what we had, honestly.
Yeah. I don't need much from 1 through 4. That's the gag.
I really don't. That's the thing. One thing about Canada is you could get anybody. They could get a cast of fucking First Boots and get Julie Vu in here, and it would probably be a great season. It would still eat. Like, they could get. That's the thing. If they got first and second Boots, Neha would still be there because she was a second fucking boot. So it's like they could literally do anything they want in Canada because the Canada casting has been so good, which is weird because it's the same casting director as US, and US casting is just. We're not gonna get into it.
Maybe the people are just worse. Maybe
the Americans is just us as a whole.
Maybe we're just terrible people.
That makes the most sense, I fear. Shit.
With that
being said, there you go. That is our Big Brother Canada Second Chance cast. Like I said, comment. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at T Reality Kingdom or whatever, and keep up with our videos. We will be doing off-season Big Brother videos up until Big Brother USA. Make sure you catch us for BB24. You Big Brother fans, we will be covering the entirety of the season of Big Brother 24, and we will be doing off-season podcasts. Check out our Survivor podcast, our Challenge podcast, our X on the Beach podcast, our Circle podcast, and check out everything else that we might be doing in the upcoming future or whatever. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us. Bye.